but when I was on stage, it was that I forgot about myself. Like, I was not thinking about what is the notes I'm going to play, what kind of cool riff am I going to throw in there, how am I going to transition this, whatever. I was not paying attention to me. I was paying attention to the other musicians, if it was multiple people, and I got lost. And I realized that's where my voice came from. It was combined with other people, not focused on myself. So I don't know if that's even helps where we're going with it, but that was, you triggered that thought in my brain of, am I doing music because I'm trying to get something out that I feel, or do I get the enjoyment because I feel other people responding to what I'm doing? And I'm not even they're not responding to what I'm doing, they're responding to what I'm hearing in them.
I love that. I love that you're naming that. And I think it's a great moment to dive into this process, because I have done a lot of work with humans in their voice over the years. You could call me a voice coach. I branded as a life coach and called the process, or called my little LLC, Total Resonance Coaching,
Okay, I like that.
back in the day. Now that I technically am still a licensed clinical social worker, but I'm no longer practicing as a therapist, but I'm going to move back into doing some life coaching. And I think this metric of voice and resonance is important. I created a Google Doc that is free and open to the public. I hope people will point others back to me as the originator if they choose to copy it and use it. But, once you put something on the internet, it's
People
out there.
People do,
And I actually feel very comfortable with that, because I think a lot of skilled voice people and creative coaches work in similar ways. You and I are both collaborators who love to be in group spaces and care very deeply about the humans that we collaborate with. You and I met up with Deb Schmel, who is, and Greg Warwick, two of my friends, at a different cafe at Chicoco, which has such good whoopie pies in Newburyport. And we had such a lovely time. Also, Emily, Deb's daughter, was there. And we just had this sense, and we talked about it afterwards, of just like a group of empaths who got to chill for a while. And that collaborative vibe matters. And for anyone who is empathic, anyone who is in an artsy vibe or a life transition vibe, sometimes what we really need is to come back to our creative energy, which can be about voice, but even somebody who doesn't use their voice or doesn't think of themselves as a singer or a performer or a speaker needs to come back to their core, right? So here are the questions to ponder that I like to give people and that are in this Google Doc. Creatively or musically or both, how do you identify?
I think I would answer it the way I answered earlier, which is I strive to create the desired experience of whoever is either the participant or the listener or the viewer, depending on the medium. So I'm not sure if that's a classification, but yeah, I mean, I'm a drummer. But I think there's a lot of other, like, we use terms, I'm sure, as other people do, like, we get made fun of, like, it's like, I was like totally in the groove with that, and someone's like, what does that mean? And it's like, well, there's a lot of different ways. Or the one that really gets people is like, that was so in the pocket, and they're like, what are you talking about? So there's more feeling in labels, I think, in some of this, the creative space, than there are like tangible, like, definitions you can look up, in a book or on the web or something like that. So it's like, how do you describe a feeling to someone as a label? And I don't know. So drummer, but I'd rather move someone with what I'm doing, and and it doesn't have to be like, wow, that was super technical. Sometimes it's the simplest thing that just has so much heart, and the timing is just there, and it lands just right. And some of that is listening to your audience and knowing, and I like audiences, and I'm an arena, but like people that you're interacting with. It could be one individual person, and if you really see them and listen to them and then put something out there, that could land more than any other educated, scholastic, normal thing you can throw out,
Okay,
So.
I love this. All right, second question.
Okay.
Name another important aspect of who you are.
Another important aspect of who I am. I would say I am a connector, and I've more recently leaned into this, especially with some of my male friends. So I tend to usually resonate more with women just because they tend to be more emotionally available, and a lot of men for various reasons that all of us men have had to deal with patriarchy and everything else that's attached to that. Some of that has gotten suppressed, and I think I'm sort of on my own like personal mission to like deconstruct that myself. And it's not a single deconstruction, like you just keep finding doors that are shut or things that are resonating as normal, but they're only normal because they were patriarchal. So they were normal in that context, but not in like context outside of that. And yeah, just trying to like build deeper relationships with some of the men that are in my life, and kind of like getting a voice for like how do we start changing, some of the patterns that we have as men, and like the focus on masculinity and all this other stuff that I think is just, I don't say it's sending us in the wrong direction, but I think it can trip us up and cause us to take longer to get to a place that we all really want to get to, which is better connection with everybody, not just with your male, female, or whatever gender you identify with. But, so yeah, that's kind of like where I've been at lately, and I think I use all the things in my life, whether it be I do some martial arts, I've got the music, I got the drumming, I cycling, so I've got like a bunch of things. I try to find like how do I maximize my connection in all those areas, and where could I be doing better, where am I really listening to people, where am I not doing a good job listening to people. So yeah,
I appreciate that so much. All right. Like, I want to dive deeper into 12 things you said, but we're not going to. We're gonna keep with the process.
Okay. You stay with the process.
Yeah. What is a song or poem or tune? Because you and I both know music does not always have words to it.
Sure.
Song implies in the English language there are lyrics to a lot of people, not everybody. But okay. What is a song, poem, or tune that brings you a feeling of freedom, ease, or delight?
That is a great question. My wife would probably be laughing right now. Back when, we still do it, but she'll always say, "What's your favorite this?" And I just don't have favorites of anything. Because it's like, what's the weather? And is it a good day or sunny day? It depends on like my mood. So I'm like trying to pin down like one thing that would be freedom to me. It's one of those questions when my mind goes blank. But I will say that what often is freedom to me is being able to, whatever the genre artist is that is calling to me at the moment, to be able to have that space, like a space that's just mine, where I can sit and especially now that I'm trying to be like more connective, I part of it as like connecting to myself, like what am I feeling, what do I need, what don't I need, like let's get rid of that, and being able to like listen to a piece of music, and whether the lyrics are touching and it causes me to cry, or whether the musicality is just so amazing that it just or you just sense that the musicians are just so connected So, and I think a lot of the freedom, I think freedom in the external sense, I don't want to say it's a fallacy. I don't want to sound like, the world is coming to an end. It's all burning down. But I'm much more value where I start to set myself free.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, I want to be emotional for this song right now, but I'm not. Why? Well, because you're a man, and it's like all the stuff. You can't cry, you can't show this, you can't do that. And whenever I sense that in myself, and I'm able to let it go and be who I want to be. Like, if I want to laugh, I'm going to laugh. If I want to cry, I want to cry. If I want to be sad, I want to be sad. Like, nothing wrong with that. If I want to be angry at something, because there are lots of things, injustice and stuff, that are worth being angry over. I want to be happy, I'm going to be happy. So I think when I sense that I'm aligned with how I'm feeling and not with the structures I've been told to hold, that's where I feel the freedom. But I feel for where I am right now, it has to be very intentional. Like, I don't get the freedom naturally. I have to think about it and go, you're holding back, you're locked down, you're not, you're there's friction, you're not letting it go. What is it?
Wow.
And I have to process that sometimes longer than others.
So. I'm going to just reflect back that when you said where I set myself free, that it moved something in me that I'm just like, okay. Thank you.
Just sharing.
Yeah, it's good. So, why might you work on reclaiming creative energy at this time in your life?
Well, I think from a self-care standpoint, I find it very healthy to me. Even when it's solo, like, I have my drums back at my place, and they're electronic because my acoustic drums sound amazing, but my neighbors probably would not appreciate the good acoustics that are in our mill building. So I play through headphones. But there's just something about those days. Like, I have an extra kind of sense of energy where I use different modalities to kind of keep myself sort of physically active and fit. So sometimes I will go to the gym and just I love kettlebells, so I'll be doing kettlebells. Sometimes I'm out on my bike. Sometimes I'll go for a run. Sometimes I'm playing drums. Sometimes I'm doing martial arts. So I kind of break it up so I don't have just one thing that I rely on that is like my thing. And the days where I'm like, okay, I already did this the other day, I'm still sore from that. Today's gonna be a drum day.
Yeah.
And there's just something like I just look forward to that in a different way. Like, I look forward to the other things, but there's something about the creative expression of something. And it can be tough because sometimes I will, I'll put on like sometimes I'll just play solo, or sometimes I'll put music on, and I can find myself judging my playing. And it starts to take over, and then my focus becomes on, like, why am I interpreting it this way? Why am I not feeling whatever? I'm not always successful in breaking out of that, but oftentimes it's like, that's when I just have to go back to like the absolute root of like what moves me right now, and I'm just going to focus on that. And oftentimes it's the simplest thing, but I think we can be very conditioned to, complexity sometimes is equated with value. Like, the more complex something is, and also coming from the tech world, like sometimes like, someone would explain a piece of technology, like they would go off on a tangent, and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I know you need to feel important right now. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing. Like, we all want to be able to show our value, but there's too much going on. Like, how do you say that in plain English? And I think I get that way. Like, sometimes with the drums, I'm like, I've been playing drums since I was 7. I should be phenomenal, but not every day I feel that way. And some days I'm like, no, I'm not feeling that. And, and then my value will decrease because of internally. Because of how I'm interpreting that. So I think, going and I think figuring out the creativity in all the things I do and not judging myself on any given day. It's like, okay, this is what I had to give today.
Oh, yeah. This is profound. I'm grateful to hear the way you articulate this, because I think a lot of people will resonate with your experience, because the ways we layer critique on ourselves, it's it's very human.
Yeah, we are very critical.
Yeah, and when we're
beings, or can
smart
be.
people, yeah, we can. It's the curse of the humanoid, I would say. And it's a mixed blessing because sometimes layers of complexity can be fun, and sometimes they can be brutal, and it's often a self-inflicted brutality.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
On the days you would rather not put in effort, because for most people, reclaiming creative energy or any kind of energy requires some amount of effort. It's usually less effort than they think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on a day you'd rather not put in effort, what will fuel or motivate you?
I think you were saying earlier, or just said a few seconds ago, like you're always putting in some kind of effort.
Yeah.
I think I can get motivated by the possibility. And I think coming from having been a coach for 20 plus years, I was often called the uncoach because a lot of athletes overtrain. And there's the you load yourself, then you recover, and then you adapt. But if you never recover, you don't adapt as well, whether that's to endurance, whether that's strength, whether that's speed, whatever the variables that you're working on. So I think I've come to enjoy the effortless days because I see them as like either emotionally or physically a recovery day. And so much growth happens. And I think I remember it more specifically from music, where back in Berkeley, anyone who's gone to Berkeley may know this, but we have all these practice rooms, and you'd go in and for a drummer, I'd have to lug my drums. We had drum rooms, and you'd bring your whatever drums you could fit in that room, and you would wood shed, as we called it. And oftentimes I'm learning a new pattern, or whatever it is I'm trying to learn, and I'm sitting there, and sometimes it's challenging my dexterity or my muscle memory or whatever it is, and it can be so frustrating. And the more I practice it, like I'll go in a drum room, I used to go in like for 4 hours at a time, and sometimes I would drill the same thing for 4 hours because I wanted it to be no mind. Like I wanted to be able to play that without thinking. To my earlier point, I want to not be thinking about myself. I want to be thinking and listening to the other musicians. And if I'm too focused on, am I going to play this correctly, I'm no longer participating in the collaborative space. I'm becoming me again. And what I would always find is, and it took a while for it to sink in, I would get to that, 2 hours, 4 hours of doing this thing, I would get worse and so frustrated. and almost feel like I couldn't play some of the basic things that I used to be able to play. And then I remember I would take a couple of days off, and I'd go back into the drum room, and all of a sudden it just is a flow, like flowed to the point of like, I didn't just technically execute that, like I felt it. So I think there's like a parallel to that where sometimes we can force and stay active, and I think creativity sometimes requires quiet and recovery, like to your earlier point about the brain requiring fuel. Like if you get burned out emotionally, you're not going to create or you're going to create something different. Maybe it's not what you want to create. Long answer to your question. I see them as recovery days. A friend of mine looks at the things that we're going to do as lily pads.
Oh, I love that.
So he always likes to have a lily pad. Him and his partner, like him and his wife, like where are they going to go? So they just finished something very exciting, but sometimes you can feel the excitement and then you drop because the excitement and the emotion and everything. And but if you have a lily pad that like in the next week or two we're going to go here, it kind of gives you that. Even though you're in a lull and like maybe recovering or whatever it is, you know that there's another place that you're going to go.
I love that. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I want to continue with the process and also just make a side note. I love getting to be a yoga teacher again, especially in the gym where I'm training one more rep, and I'll soon, I think in the fall, be teaching for Down Under Yoga, and which is a bigger, lots of different spaces here in Boston and around Boston proper. But what I love about being in a yoga space is that while the principles of yoga are free and there's lots of stuff online, and A lot of people do like to go to a place where someone reminds them your body has a wisdom within it.
Yeah.
And that wisdom is innate. If you're injured right now or you're exhausted, I want to remind you that you have a couple of poses that are resting postures, and staying in one or alternating between resting postures might be exactly what you need.
Yeah.
You can even fall asleep on your yoga mat,
Yeah.
right? And this is so beautiful to be reminded of resting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 2 types of recovery that we would use, which are common. We didn't make any of these up. But there was, regular recovery, which was you're doing nothing. So like in cycling, it was like if you don't have to stand, you sit. If you don't have to sit, you lie down.
Yeah.
The most, I'm going to say this with a caveat, but the most healthy kind of recovery was active recovery, because you were still, in that case, moving your muscles, but you were doing it without load. And it was more creating the fluidity and like keeping the joints loose and kind of bringing blood flow back.
Yeah.
Maybe being in that pose, even though you're not moving and you're falling asleep, you're still actively in a pose.
Yeah.
But there are times you have to know when you're beyond active recovery and you need full-on recovery. And that's going to be tough when someone's very driven and creative, because you get the guilt of, I'm not creating right now.
Right.
I'm not doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing. But first, try active recovery. And if active recovery, whatever that means, maybe that's, if you're an artist, maybe it's like, I'm going to grab my sketch pad and just doodle.
Yes.
I'm gonna grab a napkin. I'm going to make it even less official. I'm going to sit at a cafe and draw on a napkin.
Yes.
And just keep it as rudimentary and as disconnected from my official way of expressing myself.
I love
And maybe some days it's like, put all your tools away and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Just do something different.
Yeah. I love this. This is good. All right. The 6th question.
Okay.
Can you identify any interfering beliefs that are ready to be released?
And when you say released, you mean like me letting them go or me sharing them?
You letting them go.
I don't know, I'm just going to throw it out there. It's going to sound a bit heavy. But I think this is tied to the ADHD and the Vyvanse that I mentioned earlier, is the belief that I'm not a loving, nurturing person. I think one of the fears I had before getting on this ADHD med was I kind of held a level of control in my life. So like people saw me as, someone that I got along with everybody. I was always serving people. Like I loved doing that, whatever it was. But there was a part of me, because of my dad, who was like such an evil kind of person, and no longer on the planet, or at least not living. I feared that I would be him, like in some way.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing that this journey with the ADHD has given me is like it gave me no choice. Like it stripped that control away, which was super scary. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking in the basement, like what's down there? And it turns out that I'm a more like caring, affectionate person. So like that's like been a huge relief. And like there's I know it and letting it go, but there's still like I can look in the mirror sometimes and think I'm gonna look like my dad, and I don't look like my dad. But like that's like how ingrained that kind of thinking can get. And obviously it's been a big turning point in like a lot of my relationships, where I've been more available, listening better, because I'm not worried about myself. Kind of going back to like some of the music analogies we're making. But I think the healthiest thing is it's allowed me to kind of like, I don't know, just resonate with being a person who can be loving. And it's not like I'm all of a sudden all knowing and understanding. Like I'm not. Like I find myself in a more inquisitive mode than ever. But I think that's also a product of me wanting to really know people. And it's not that I didn't want to know people before, but I think like to the freedom part, like I felt like I wasn't free. Like if I started expressing myself, then maybe people would find out more about who I am, and maybe this other side of me that I've been keeping, that I thought I was keeping at bay, will come out. So like to let that whole thing go, or at least the beginnings of it, to start like kicking it out the door, and maybe it's multiple pieces. So I'm like throwing stuff out the window and stuff out the door and stuff out the garage and whatever. But yeah, so that's been a big part of my last, I'd say, 6 months.
That's really beautiful. That you're, and I want to name one of my favorite professors from undergrad, Dr. Raymond Van Loen, who is also not on the planet anymore, who did a beautiful job of talking in Old Testament class.
Okay.
In this fairly conservative Christian space, Eastern College, now Eastern University, but fairly liberal as well. It has kind of a mix of the conservative and the liberal-minded Christian vibe. And he wrote and spoke very profoundly about original blessing, superseding the idea of curse as it is invoked in the stories of the book of Genesis. And this idea that we are blessed, and that being more powerful than this idea of original like evil, that we are cursed as a species.
Sure.
I am so grateful that he spoke so powerfully of that. And you and I both have gone through some trauma in religious spaces, and it's a beautiful thing to realize we are blessed, right?
It's very much like a deficit life. Like you're starting at a deficit. And you spend so much time like trying to earn something, depending on what it is. And that's where your energy goes, as opposed to being like letting your creativeness go. But you can't always do that, because the space, like one of the things I really believe is that, they always tell you you can learn better when you're younger, or learn faster. And like part of me is like, no, I think you can learn just as fast as an adult. It's just that you have to unlearn more things.
I think that's
you
true.
have to let something go before you can let something come in, or if it's a thought that you've held, like opposing thoughts have a hard time getting through until you let the one controlling thought go. And then you can either take that thought back because maybe it was a good thought, or you can open up your mind to other opportunities or other options for thinking a different way, or thinking, maybe you don't even have to think a different way, but I want to be able to understand how someone else is thinking. And it's hard to do that when your brain says, no, this is the only way to think.
Right.
Which, of course, we all know is not true, but that's, we're the main character in our own story. So that's
it's true.
That's how that works.
I love this. Who will benefit from your healing or reclaiming work?
Well, obviously I will benefit from it, just being able to be myself and become more of myself. But I'm hoping, like anybody, like I'm around. And what's interesting is, I've been in this tech design space, and my discipline of user experience design has taken a hit over the last couple of years, with AI and like a lot of layoffs, and so my market is really cut down. But I had worked my way up. I'd become a director and an executive director and a VP, and I was under this illusion that the more sort of the higher level I got in an organization, the more agency I would have to make change. And what I realized is that was not true, at least from my journey. Other people maybe have different experiences. And what happened for me was I got farther and farther away from the things I loved, which were the people, the product or service, and there's another thing. I guess the people being two, either my team, like I wanted to be accessible for my team, and then the people that we were serving, whatever the product or service served. And I wound up in this like leadership echelon where like we weren't the ones doing the work, like, and we became more and more disconnected from the work. So the reason I say that is my mind has changed now, and as I'm healing and kind of reconsidering and throwing out things that just don't serve me anymore, I find that it's the individual engagement, like being a safe place for someone is huge. Like I love being able to do that, and that's hard too as a an older white male. Like I have white privilege, but I also come with, I'm an older white male, which in general we are not safe people. Males in general are not safe people, but older white men, not safe people. So I'm fighting against that. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, but I do understand that. Like, I have to over index sometimes in making people feel safer because I can be inherently
yeah
for face value unsafe.
yeah. Thanks for naming that, because as someone who has experienced harm from a lot of male bodies, of all different shades of skin, but especially those with white privilege, I appreciate you naming it. I will say, to me, my experience of you is that you're a very safe, warm, kind, compassionate, and also careful male who has these various degrees of privilege. So thank you for being one of those people in my life as a friend. Yeah. What small, or maybe large, time-specific goal do you think you might want to work toward as you reclaim your creative energy in months or weeks to come?
Yeah. Well, part of this is on my sort of career journey as to where do I go next.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to do is like kind of look at sort of like the sum total of who I am, and what makes me tick and what allows me to really enjoy others. And I think the things that have resonated with me most is things that are in sort of the learning and development space, like mentoring. Like I have a mentor who I've known for 20-something years. He's amazing. And I think it goes back to that individual impact.
Yeah.
Warning.
Is that your phone?
That is my phone.
Okay, I'm like, I don't think my phone makes that sound. But
I guess I'm glad I said that, because I feel like we can talk for hours.
We can talk for hours, and we're getting close to the end of like the hour. That usually this podcast is about an hour. Sometimes it goes to an hour and 15 minutes, and that's the final question. But you're thinking about your career right now. I know that you and your wife just moved.
Yep.
So you and I both have that. We share that. We're kind of in this like life transition space in terms of spatial things. I want to give you the space to articulate, though. Is there like a particular definable small goal for you?
I think it's to try to, like one of the things that my mentor had said, because I talked to him, about sort of, we talk about everything, but we were talking about career stuff. And, I was still looking in my sort of field, if you will. And, he's like, sometimes you drive your car, it's your favorite car. And then at some point the car gets too old, like you've repaired it, you've bondoed it, you did everything you do to keep that car running, but it's no longer whatever.
Right.
But you're still a driver, and you're going to take whatever you have and you're going to put it into a different vehicle, and then you're going to move forward with that other vehicle. So it's like, what is the vehicle? So I think the smaller goals are to look at some different ways that I can explore either the learning space, the teaching space. I love to teach, the mentoring space, things that kind of allow me to like share like a lot of my journey, not in like, hey, I want to talk about myself, but I want people to understand that maybe what the challenges that they're going through, the fears that they have, the pain that they're in, number one, does not have to continue forever. And oftentimes, if the pain doesn't go away, the judgment and the stuff that we put on ourselves could be minimized drastically. Which in a sense is like, the pain is the pain, but I think we really overload ourselves with worry and fear and hopelessness and a whole bunch of other things that it's just unnecessary baggage.
So I think you're saying you're looking at new opportunities for yourself. And that's good. You and I are in a similar space around that. I love it. Let's do a little bit of playing in terms of voice and reclamation work, because we're both musicians. Sure.
I'm not a singer.
Well, you don't identify as a singer, but often musicians who have been close to singers, and you're a drummer, they usually can sing, even if it's not the thing that they do and feel most competent at, right? I am a huge believer that getting outside of our sphere of competency is one of the best ways we can have fun, but also try on something new.
Sounds great.
So do you want to sing something?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
We have some lyrics next to this that I grabbed before we started.
I'm assuming you know these by heart. So.
Yeah. So in this process that, I've printed the Google Doc, I'll link it in the notes to this episode. The first thing, what is the first thing to do in this process?
In this process?
Yeah, in the process that I'm using via the Google Doc.
Okay. Well, what does it say in there? Mm-hmm. Oh, notice sensation.
Yeah, so I want you to notice the sensation in your body as we're doing this.
Yeah, a little bit of nervousness, yeah.
Okay, what does nervousness feel like in your body?
Well, I think there's that fear of like making a fool of yourself or whatever, or sounding silly. Or
okay,
whatever.
I'm hearing what your internal narrative is. Tell me about your body. What do you feel?
I think it can feel like there's an energy there, but it's like almost like a nervous energy. Like I don't know where it's gonna go.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. All right.
And
so
I'm one of those musicians that like I will get on stage, and I don't usually have like any. Like I'm excited about it, but I just let it. Once I'm on stage, it happens, and I'm not thinking about it anymore. Yeah. But it's before I'm on stage that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm in that before I'm on stage moment.
So you notice the energy. Let's both take a breath and notice. I like to close my eyes. Not everyone likes to. Notice where you feel the greatest concentration of energy in your body, like somatically.
I'd say for me, it's the center of my chest.
Center of your chest. Interesting. I'm feeling it in the solar plexus as well. It's like in my chest. Did something just fall?
One of your friends.
Oh, nice. Something just fell.
They want to participate.
It was up on top of that. I was feeling it like through my shoulder blades. So you and I are kind of in the same area. You're feeling chest. I'm feeling.
It's like sternum.
Yeah. Okay. So we're both in heart space, right? Solar plexus. And it's a heart energy, which is this energy is associated with the fourth chakra, and also like this area is technically the third chakra, but it's all very like most of us have like intermingling sensation. Good. So we're gonna breathe, and we're gonna sing.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
No, just being totally honest.
Okay. I'm happy to start if you'd rather not. But
my challenge with music's like I'll go to these like karaoke nights, and I always have a hard time finding music because I'm in a lyrical baritone. So most things are out of. They're either somewhat in my range, but if they go too high or too low, I'm out. So I have like there's a weird range. So that's one of my fears, I think.
Well,
like, great. We're gonna pick a
it might be good for you to choose, like, just sing whatever comes out of you. Then.
Yeah, I'm a drummer. I don't know keys.
That's good. I don't like them either because I grew up in Hawaii and sang just a lot of a cappella. Yeah.
So, well, why don't you? Like, you hear the timbre of my voice, so maybe you can pick.
Yeah.
You probably have a more of a knowledgeable way of picking a starting key than I do, or starting point.
Yeah. Well, why don't we start here? Okay. Read those words. Just read them.
Okay. Well, let's let it be. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be.
Beautiful. Sometimes just talking is a really good place to start. If I sing it in this key, see if you can match me.
Okay.
All
right. Am I going to sing with you, or are you going to sing and then I'm going to sing?
Sing with me.
Okay.
And if it's not wanting to come out, that's totally fine.
Okay.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Nice.
Good key.
Yeah, good. Keep singing.
Okay. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
I like the singing.
When I held it up to the light, all the words from the back of the page
came through,
and I'm like, oh my God.
This is me being a little too careful with, like, there's some release for something.
Very good use of recycled paper. Except I held it up to light and I'm like, there's all these words that I know are not part of the song.
Okay.
But I just had to let it be, so.
You had to let it be. Let's pretend I did that on purpose. Okay. So let's sing together the chorus.
Okay, let's see, chorus on one. Okay, there you go.
Go ahead and start.
Let it be,
let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Nice. Okay. This is so joyful to me, at least, to sing with you. How's it feeling for you?
Good. Yeah. It always takes me like a while to get into like a rhythm. So I can definitely feel like loosening up.
Good. So this is kind of the check-in point in the process. Like, are you feeling okay? I'm feeling good, but
great,
I don't want. Okay, good. All right. And
I appreciate you picked the key that I didn't have to.
Well,
my voice
you actually picked the key because you started speaking, and I was like, okay, where can he match me? And then I just kind of intuitively started singing fairly low for me.
Okay.
You also said lyric baritone. I have no idea what key we're in right now. I don't have perfect pitch, but we're doing something that feels comfortable.
Sure.
So for today, we're just gonna finish the song.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to stay on this page.
Yeah. So we're at verse 2.
Okay.
Why don't you sing that on your own, and then I'll come and sing with you. I might add a little harmony.
If you can start it, because actually the melodic part of it sometimes gets my brain.
Okay, this is good. All right. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And I, like, on that song sheet, and I've used this with a number of different community singing groups. You know, we repeat the chorus, the first chorus one more time. That was so lovely. Yeah. Oh. Thank you for singing with me.
Thank you for asking. Getting me out of my shell.